Hey there, I'm Han.
And I'm Kat, and we're Brews and Reviews.
Today we are going to give you our September wrap-up. So all the books we have read in the month of September we're going to tell you about. I suppose I've just said that twice in two different ways and they both mean the same thing. Don't know why I had to say it again in a different way.
Just getting the message across.
Yeah. Just in case you didn't understand the first time.
Yeah, and if you didn't get the title or any of it, or it's been a long day, guys.
It has.
I can't believe it's September, October now already. We're filming this on October 1st, so this is crazy.
It's actually not just the month, the whole year up to now. Yeah.
Done.
I can remember it being Christmas, and then all of a sudden it's near the Christmas again.
Oh, it's happened very quickly.
It has. It's crazy.
Having some sort of existential crisis about how fast time is moving right now.
I know.
Anyway, I actually read 6 books this month, including audiobooks, and you read...
I read 3.
So, we've done alright. Either way, I'm drinking tea today because...
I was very confused about the situation. I got my own spoon out and everything because I don't like my spoon tasting of coffee. And then so I got my own spoon out and then she goes and whacks the tea back in a cup. I was like, what?
Yeah, I haven't had tea for over a year. And then the other day I was just like, oh, I just fancy a tea instead of a coffee. And then I fancied a tea instead of a coffee today too. So maybe my drink tastes are changing and this adds to the existential crisis.
Maybe.
The first book that I listened to this month on audiobook was Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon Maguire. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm really sorry if it's not. This is a novella, and to be honest, the audiobook was only about 4.5 hours long, and I listened to it in one day at work, and it was so good. It was a beautiful story. There are things that could have been done better. The overarching plot line was a bit meh. The murder mystery thing was... a little bit predictable, but the characters I loved, the representation I loved, and just the end left me with such happy feels that I was like...
Is this one with Jack and Jill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember you telling me about it, didn't it?
Yeah. I need to pick up the next book in this series, and you need to read this one because it will take you 10 minutes and...
It sounds like it would give me happy feels. So.
Yes, I think so. So the second book that I read this month was actually a graphic novel, and I don't usually read graphic novels, but, my friend Jo at work, she was recommending it to me, and then she lent it to me, and I was like, well, I can't say no because it sounds great. It is The Wicked and the Divine. I don't actually know who it's by, and helpfully, this image right here doesn't have anybody's name on it. So, The Wicked and the Divine is basically 12 gods are sort of reborn every 90 or so years, and they come down to Earth. They can only live for 2 years, and they inhabit the body of just somebody who's alive in that time, and they can sort of do crazy stuff, and it's just awesome. All of the characters are great, and it's funny, and I just couldn't stop reading it. I just carried on straight through and read it in about 2 days, so that was awesome.
So about a month ago, we went shopping for some books, and then we didn't even go shopping for some books. We were just out shopping, and then we went in a shop, and I saw for a cracking deal the whole of the Percy Jackson's The Lost Hero series.
Apart from the newest one.
Yeah, apart from the newest one, so there were 4, for £10 or something. But the box that it was in was broken. I mean, all the books were absolutely fine. And I got it for £5 or something, so how could I not? And I love the series, so I thought, I was in a bit of a book slump, so I thought I'd give them all a go again. And I've got to say, I just love them.
Yeah.
I really, really like them. I feel like these ones, they're still obviously really young and everything, but they're a lot more grown up than the original Percy Jackson series, and I just love the adventures. I love the different characters in them. You get so connected to all of their personal storylines, and I just love where it goes with it. And even though I remember bits about it, there's still bits I think, oh, I mustn't have clicked that in the first bit, and I link pieces together, and it's nice to reread it and get a whole new love for it in a different way, so I just love it.
Because I've not read any of those,
no.
So I'm like, oh, you're making me really want to read them.
I just really love them, they're just such easy reads.
I think they were good for getting you back into reading.
Yeah, because I was in an awful book slump. But anyway, this whole series, I just love them. So.
That was way too hot for my mouth and it just burnt my tongue.
Oh.
So the next book that we read this month, we actually read together as part of a buddy read that we did with Fee from Mystery Date with a Book. We read Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo.
Yeah. We loved it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was great.
It was such a nice experience to do a buddy read.
On a book we loved.
Yeah, that all three of us really enjoyed. Like, literally from the start, what we did is we set ourselves a target of 3 chapters.
Per day.
Yeah, per day. So we were like, yeah, that's achievable, you know, we've all got stuff in our lives. But it got to the point where we were like, we need to know what's happening. Like, we need to know what's going on. So we actually upped it to 4 chapters, and it was just brilliant, wasn't it? Like, we all really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Can I just say, I love me the Darkling.
Oh, but we got a really sad story, haven't we, about your mug?
So I bought a mug. You know,
It happens.
it's the thing that I do. And it was a mug to do with the Grisha trilogy. It was a quote from the Darkling that says, "Fine, make me your villain," and it has the antlers in it, and it was great. And it arrived today, and I unpacked it, and it was smashed.
Like, all the way through.
Like, two
literally
halves.
in half. Yeah. It's a pretty devastating moment for you, wasn't it?
I'm still sad now. Like, I'm genuinely upset about the whole thing, and because not only is that quote just perfection to do, like I love villains. Yeah, fine, make me a villain. Yeah. Just all of it. I really like the Darkling. I find him a really intriguing villain, and you know, I just need to know me some Darkling.
But like, not just the Darkling, like all of the characters, I think, like the whole magic in it.
Yeah.
It took a lot of getting your head around it, but once you knew there's separate.
Yeah, because you were reading it on
my tablet. So there's a little bit at the start where it explains to you the different ranks of the magicians, I suppose. You know, like, how would you describe it? Like,
well, it says like the different ranks of the second army. Are they the second army? Anyway, the Grisha, they have like ranks, and it differentiates their powers, if you will.
And stuff.
And you didn't have that in your copy, so you were really confused.
I was reading it and I was like, right, so what is it you do? And I literally had to get Google up, and every time one of them were mentioned, I had to like, right, okay, so that's what they do. But once you get it in your head and you understand it, it's actually really good. I feel like the way that she's done it is...
I think it's really great.
Yeah, it is. So I did like the whole, how magic was portrayed in it. So, because as well, it's not just, oh, they're magic. They've still got to have elements of real life things, like the ones with the flames. They've got to actually have a spark to be able to produce the flames and stuff like that, which I thought was more realistic, and I like that about it.
So the next book that I read last month should come as no surprise to you if you watched any of our previous videos. I read It by Stephen King. I listened to this as an audiobook. Bear in mind that this is like a it's either 34 or 44 hour book. Like, it's a long book. It comes to about 1,200 pages, I think, if you read it in like normal book form. As a hard copy, as you read it as a hard copy. Why don't the words come to me, Hannah? Why?
I mean, I offered no help for you. I was
just like, yeah. So yes, I read it and I really liked it. I enjoyed like the characters. I enjoyed the plotline, and I thought there were things about it that were really like scary and uncomfortable. And I just found it really fun. I did like this book a lot. The only problem I had with it is that some of the characters are just odd. They're not like real characters. Like, the Jewish character is Jewish, and the girl character is a victim that gets abused in every single relationship she will ever have. And the fat kid is fat. Until he's not. So, I mean, they're just kind of like standard set pieces that can be moved around and stuff. But like apart from that, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed like the horror aspect, and it's the first Stephen King book I've ever read, so I really, really liked it.
This is your too. Okay, I was having fun touching your face. I'm doing it. No. That was so weird. I just enjoyed the noise, like, you know.
I can't make
I am
noise
a
'cause my jaw
program next.
I think that should be a Halloween costume. I think that would be a great Halloween
Pigtails,
costume.
like.
Alright, still going. Quick, it's been there for a minute and a half.
Okay. The third book I read this month was the Son of Neptune from the Heroes of Olympus set. I don't really need to say much about this because obviously I talked about the first one. It's just a great series, series. I love them. I think they're so enjoyable to read. They take me back to my childhood. I just think they're brilliant. We were talking about how the covers are terrible. Like, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
If you saw this and you didn't know about the series or the author, you'd think, no, not a chance.
You would never pick it up. I mean, have you seen this on the front? Some weird sort of like CGI porn Medusa. Like. The only thing that is going to be selling to kids is weird Grecian boobies.
Sorry about that. However, the series is most definitely worth a read. I love it. Like, the whole world. I think it's brilliant, so it's great.
The next book that I read this month was a classic, and that was The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I put off reading this book for a very long time, even though I knew it was one that I'd probably quite like. I enjoyed it. It was an alright book. I quite like Oscar Wilde's style of writing. The only thing that I didn't like was that I just wanted more. Like, I wanted to hear more about him, his depravity and that sort of thing. I would have enjoyed having an extended section to do with that rather than the beginning of the tale where he's just sort of going into that sort of thing. Apart from that though, I really liked it and it was a really quick read for me, so that's another classic down for me this year. I'm trying to throw in some classics every now and again because otherwise I just won't read them. So
I mean, that's my plan, to just not read them.
And the last book that I read this month is one that I've been going on about it because I just loved it so much. It was so good and I'm so glad that I finally read it. Well, I listened to it on audiobook and actually Will Wheaton narrated it and he was great. The book in question is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline.
Such a great book.
Yeah, because you talked about it for ages and I was like, I'm sure I would like that book a lot. I just don't have the time to read it and we lost your physical copy.
Yeah.
It's in the garage somewhere.
It's lost in the abyss of the garage.
Yeah. With like the entire contents of my house. So, yay. We were never finding that.
No.
Not until we move. So this book is everything that is perfect about 80s pop culture and it was so fun. I enjoyed the video game aspect, I enjoyed the quest aspect. The only thing that I didn't like as much was the romance because I just didn't think it needed to happen.
It didn't, did it really?
Like, it was cute at the end, but
I mean, it didn't take anything away from it, but I don't think it added to it.
No, it didn't add to it at all.
It wasn't needed at all.
Like, there's that section in the middle, and it's like, nah.
It's like, there is a serious important quest going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, you'd definitely be focusing on this quest. You would not be focusing on, oh, I wonder what she's doing today. No. Find the keys. Come on now. But actually, I really enjoyed it, everything about it, and I got, like, the whole Monty Python bit in it. I was like, ah, yeah! And then, just all of it. I just had, like, a great time. Like, the whole... I could vividly imagine this world and I was not disappointed.
Well, we actually watched the trailer after it, and we were actually disappointed.
Don't watch the trailer if you like this book, because it looks like everything you liked about it is probably not going to be there.
They've said that it's going to be quite different, haven't they? But I didn't realise how different until I watched the trailer, and I feel like I'm going to be highly disappointed.
Yeah, me too. There was only like 2 hints to things that actually happened in the book, and then everything else seemed to be like totally random, and I was like, why don't you actually go to the nerddom that should exist there? Why are you going to like a fucking car race? Those are the books that we read this month.
Yeah.
Or last month now, I guess, seeing as it's now October and one step closer to the end of the year, to the next year of our lives, to death. So if you've read any of these books, please let us know what you thought of them, because I feel like we had a successful reading month.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed everything I read this month, and I don't usually say that because there's usually some shit that ruins it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
We've got a good month ahead of us anyway, haven't we, with reading and stuff like that, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this month coming up.
Yes.
And yeah, so let us know what you thought of these books, and we will see you in the next video.
See you later.
Bye.
Was that your belly?
No.
I thought that was like your belly rumbling.
It sounded like, well, that's why I looked at you, because it was yours. Like, it must have been something outside that was like having a moment.
Are they the only ones I've read this month? It is, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Hello? Is that your dog?
How?